And like I said, this is a judgment-free zone. Also known as Tellytell, and thank you so much for joining me today. If you are new here, please subscribe to us. We are a community that discuss beauty, hygiene, self-care, and anything in between. We also have a goal of 10,000 followers that we are inching towards, so we would love for you to be a part of this community. If you are an oldie but goodie, y'all already know how I feel about y'all. Thank you so much for joining me today. Okay, so y'all saw the thumbnail, y'all saw the topic that we're going to discuss. First things first, look below. All my timestamps are there. Y'all already know how I can get a little chatty here and there. So if you want to skip past a part, or there's a part that you are particularly interested in, you feel free to go ahead and go straight there. Also, I'm going to give a couple of disclaimers before I get right into it. First disclaimer is I am not a medical doctor. I am not qualified to give any type of medical advice. The advice that I am discussing today is going to be advice that worked for me, and also anecdotal information that I've learned from other women along the way. Secondly, I know that it's 2024, well, we might as well say it's 2025, and we should be wrapping things up and being safe. So I have to do my due diligence and tell y'all to be safe and wrap things up. And also make sure that you are staying on top of your testing, especially if you are very active. However, I know that things happen. I know some of you guys are in relationships, and I remember when I was a young woman and I was not being safe, and I was looking for advice and tips on the internet, and I couldn't find much. So hopefully this will be helpful for you, because I know it can get a little tricky here and there. And then thirdly, my advice comes from the perspective of a heterosexual woman. I've never been with anyone else but a man. So keep that in mind when I'm giving my advice or my opinions. If you ready to roll and hear what I got to say, stick with me. Take whatever you can from it. If you got questions or comments, leave them below, and let's go ahead and get started. My first tip, first and foremost, is to make sure that you pee after you have been intimate. I'm gonna say intimate because I don't really know the parameters around using the S word on YouTube, so I don't want no smoke, I don't want no problems. But you want to make sure that you pee as soon as you can after you've been intimate. Two reasons. One, especially if you let the man release in you, because you are allowing your muscles to help bear down and push out his semen. Now, we're going to talk about why that you want to do that a little bit momentarily, but that is a great reason. Secondly, it also helps, regardless whether you were safe or not, help you prevent UTIs and urinary tract infections. If you've ever had one of them things before, you already know that those are not very comfortable to have. So making sure that you pee as quickly as you can after being intimate is always a great thing. If you were not safe and the man has released in you, not only will you be peeing, but you'll also be bearing down. And when I say bearing down, it's almost like pushing from the Rootah instead of the Tuta. And if you are not necessarily familiar with how to do this, if you are familiar with doing a Kegel where you kind of push up, it's kind of like the opposite where you pushing down, almost just like you are trying to blow bubbles with your vagina. I know this sounds weird, and I'm sorry if that was kind of graphic, but that's the best way that I can describe it. So you want to spend some time on the toilet, maybe about 10 minutes, depending on how long you want to do or how comfortable you are, and we'll get to the next steps later on. But if your partner has anything to say about it, you can make a joke about it. Most men are pretty understanding when it comes to these type of things. So just make a little joke about it, or bring your phone in there and maybe text them while you're on. I don't know, just something cute like that. I don't know. But anyway, that's my number one tip. My second tip is we are going to avoid douching. Now, we're going to talk about some post-intimacy inserts a little bit later on, but I've read conflicting research on douching. There's some that says that it helps increase your risk of pregnancy, and then there are some that say it does not matter. But most to all research that I've read says that it increases your risk for sexually transmitted infections or just infections in general. So you just don't want to do it. Your vagina within herself, she's a well-oiled machine. She is a self-cleaning oven. She does know how to do what she needs to do. And adding a douche or anything that can push things up into those extra Netherlands that you don't want them to go is never a good idea. We are going to talk about some post-vaginal inserts and some things that you can do in order to get your pH back together. And if a man releases in you and you want some of that stuff out of there, we're going to talk about that momentarily, but that's the tip. I ain't got nothing else to say about that, but just don't douche, okay? My third tip is to make sure that you are showering as quickly as you can after you have been intimate. And I know this is hard, especially if you really enjoy your partner and you want to kind of sit around and talk to them, but you can make a statement to them like, let me get fresh for you so that we can talk, or whatever the case that you need, whatever you need to say. But you want to make sure that you are taking a shower as soon as you can. I like to go immediately, but and just kind of, you don't want to make it seem robotic or whatever the case may be. It's just up to you. Now, when you do take a shower, there's a couple of things that you can do in the shower as well. Me, I like to go 1 round with the Dial antibacterial soap. Some people find it to be dry. You can try Dove's antibacterial soap, or some people have said they use Dr. Bronner's, something that's very cleansing, that's going to help release all of the germs, especially if you did a lot of foreplay that involved kissing, licking, fingers, and things of that, toys that may not have been as sterile as your vagina likes it to be. You definitely want to make sure that you go in with something cleansing to release all of those germs on the outside. Don't put no soap up there, but make sure that you get everything on the outside and opening up your lips and getting anything on the outside in between those as well. And then I like to go in with my moisturizing and or my soothing soaps. If you are like me, you are sensitive, and sometimes maybe friction kind of make you a little bit more sensitive. Something very soothing like a baby wash, or like an aloe based wash, or like some type of Dove soap, something very moisturizing, is also going to be very helpful for you as well. That's the key, making sure that you allow water. Like, if I like, y'all know I like a shower head, but allowing water to really rinse you off real good, and then going in with your soaps will really help you as well. So it happened. Like I said, this is a judgment-free zone. You might have gotten yourself in a situation where the man has released in you, and that happens, and that's what we're going to discuss now. Now, if that is the case, there are several things you need to do. First, you want to bear down, like I told you. Secondly, you want to shower. Thirdly, there are post inserts. Okay, there's one in particular that I like. I think it's called like Drip Stick. I don't know. I put it in the bottom. Go to this time step right now and go look at the link there, and that's exactly what it is. It's chemical free, and it's like a stick with some cloth on it for the most part. You stick it up there, turn it, and it helps soak up any type of extra semen. Now, one thing a lot of people don't talk about is that semen can sometimes make you smell. Now, semen is an organic matter, especially if this is a new partner to you. You're introducing something into your floor that is not used to. So sometimes it might spaz out and then like, ugh. You're also very sensitive. It can make you smell. So trying to get that out is always a good idea. For a lot of people, the best thing that's going to help is time. So making sure that you keep yourself clean, making sure that you are staying dry as possible. And for some people, they like to wear underwear with a cloth liner, or just underwear in general. You want to make sure it's as natural as possible, or something that is close to 100% cotton as possible, so that it can be breathable and it can help with air circulation. If you decide that you like to go commando, you won't feel discomfort or anything from fluids or anything coming out, then that's fine as well. Okay. So my next tip is, if you are a little bit more sensitive, especially if your partner used a certain type of condom or contraceptive like that didn't work for you in your body, one of the things that I like is fresh aloe. And when I say fresh aloe, that means it's something as natural as possible if you can find it. I linked some again below. I'm gonna try to link everything so that it make it a little bit easier for y'all. But they also have some at Whole Foods if you want to make the trip there. But some fresh aloe, making sure after you shower and pat dry, you just put just enough aloe on the areas that feel a little bit irritated, maybe due to, again, friction or certain types of condoms, or allergies to a certain type of condom, or whatever the case may be. And just making sure that you pat dry. I also like to keep some in the refrigerator because it's real good post-chemical peel as well. And it's very soothing. We are nearing towards the end of this video, and I know this is another one that's kind of controversial. So I always say, talk to your doctor, talk to your nurse practitioner, or whoever you take your qualified health advice from. But there are post inserts that can help balance your pH, or that can help combat any smells. Now, one, you want to make sure that you're infection free. You want to make sure that if you have a smell or an odor, that you are getting it checked out by a doctor, making sure that it's not BV or STI or any other types of infections. So that's going to be first things first. Now let's operate as if it's not. Okay, there are post inserts that you can put in there that can help balance you or get you back to your normal homeostasis. Some people don't like the boric acid. I personally like boric acid. I'll share the one that I use below. There's also ACV, apple cider vinegar based pills. There is Refresh. I enjoy Refresh as well. You can put that down there. But these not only can be used after sex, but you can also use them after your period, or after, let's just say, anything that just kind of knocks you off. Maybe you went swimming in a pool that was heavily with a lot of chlorine or something like that, and it just kind of knocks you off. But you could use those. Some of them give suggestions as to a regimen. Like there are some that say, well, use this for a week straight. There are some that say you can use this for 3 days. There are some that say you can just pop one in there every time you need it. You don't necessarily need to every day. Find what works for your body and what helps you out the most. If you prefer to just leave things to nature and let it rebalance itself out, you can do that as well. But I did want to throw that out there for the people who would like to know what type of things that they can also be using. I think that is all for today. Why did I feel so short? I don't know. Well, anyway, if y'all have any tips or suggestions, y'all can go ahead and leave them below as well. Otherwise, I will see y'all next time. And if you have stayed this long and you have not subscribed, I know I said this is a judgment-free zone, but I'm going to judge. The way it goes, I'm glad that you stayed to this point, and I will talk to y'all later.